Alrighty, here we are for our second episode of tutorials for Odd Realm, and I am going to load up my game and talk a little bit while I do. So last time I gave some very basics about how to start, but in this tutorial I'd like to get into some of the more advanced concepts of how to defend your base, how to deal with a settler wave, which is where we're going to kind of start off here. And I did advance time just a little bit, but it was really only a very few turns, and now I'm running with this settler wave that just came in. And you'll notice I have 10 settlers now, where I started with 5. I did have to clean up my mine a little bit because I made the mistake of building some walls in before I let the other ones build through, and that means my miner got caught and was dying of thirst before I almost caught it, and then it made things build back up. So managed to save my miner, fortunately. And you'll notice that I've built stairs on all of these levels so that we can go down quickly. And this is the level that I'm mining out stone on, and I encountered a dungeon block with an ancient in it. So we're going to talk a little bit about strategy. Fortunately for me right now, the ancient's not able to get out of his tomb, so he's not going to start shooting death bolts at me. I can actually check what he has on him if I click on him and then click on his entity info. Okay, he doesn't have any magic stuff to be able to shoot at me anyway, so that's not as big a deal. I could work on trying to capture him, but I don't have the means to do that yet, and it's going to be kind of tight in this space. So what I'm going to do is actually just let him die out, and he will eventually. You see that right now his stats are all kind of high, but eventually he'll run out of that sleep energy, and then he will just perish from not being able to kind of replenish himself in the cave over here. Uh, Back up at the top, I've gotten it to the point where I'm gathering water just fine. I have all of my farms running just fine. I have my cooking area running just fine, and I need to start building some living space for my for my villagers, and also get some other things going that will help with my industry. And the first thing I'm going to do is deal with this new settler wave. So I have these new settlers that came in. So I'm going to hit L to open up my settlers menu. And I'm going to look at what their skills are. So I have one that's listed as blacksmith. I have an extra carpenter. I have a cook already, but I'm going to bet that this cook is probably not the best cook. And you'll see why and how I check that in just a minute. I have 2 laborers, which is totally random and kind of worthless at this point in the game. Once I get more villagers in, then that'll be the point to check it. You can see that these are all the new guys because they are all level 1s. They haven't been working on anything, where all of my guys that have been here in my base have been, except for my stonemason, who hasn't really done anything stonemason related, so they haven't done anything to level themselves up yet. So I'm going to go and fix this really quickly. So I'm going to go over to skill permissions. And the way that I like to deal with this first settler wave is by order of priority. So the first thing I like to get is a good cook. So I'm going to sort by the cook skill over here. So if I click it twice, it'll bring the top ranked cook to the very top of my list. And that is this Emery Kaladin, who happens to be my current carpenter. So he has only a carpentry skill of 15 at level 3, and this guy has a carpentry skill of 14 at level 1. So what I'm going to do is actually turn Emery, who has my highest cooking skill of 13, into my full-time cook. Now, there's no penalty for jumping from one skill set to another. It's just that he retains this level 3 and will only be able to advance as a cook from this point. So any of the skills that he's gained before this, you'll see his carpentry is still 15, will remain. So he's now going to be advancing as a cook. He's low enough level that I'm not worried about doing this. And so that's why this is a completely feasible move at this point. I'm going to grab this Sadie Darney here, and I'm going to turn them into my new carpenter. So come down here, find my carpentry skill. All right. Okay. So that is my current, going to be my current carpenter. Now this is the other level 1 carpenter that I inherited here, and so I've got a couple of other things, a couple of other roles that I want to fill. So I got 5 new characters, and that's one that I've taken care of, is making a quote unquote cook. I want to make a thaumaturge, and here's the reason I'm going to make a thaumaturge. You'll notice the cook that they gave me. See, not a great cook, decent thaumaturge though. So this cook is going to be my thaumaturge. Now, the reason I'm going to make a thaumaturge is because I can use the thaumaturge skill and gain tomes of Arcana as they do things that are thaumaturgy, which in this case, is one very specific skill that's kind of interesting and it serves a dual purpose. And I'll show you what that is in just a second. So I've got my cook, I've got my thaumaturge. The next thing that I'm really interested in having is a second farmer, because the farming is really something that's kind of a priority at this point. Now, I do want a blacksmith, so since this blacksmith is already pretty good, I am not going to convert the blacksmith into a farmer. This is the one that I just converted to a cook. My farmer's already there. Really don't have many good options for another farmer. Might be... Oh, okay, yeah. What we're going to do is convert this guy into a carpenter. Sometimes this takes a little bit of time. Convert this guy into a carpenter, and then convert this guy into a farmer. Here. Okay. All right, so then depending on how everything's going, I'll normally pick at this point, like, try and grab another miner or another forester maybe. I think what I'm going to go with in this particular case is actually a shepherd. So sort by the taming skill and hope that one of the new guys is a good taming skill. Excellent. This is one, not a great carpenter, but good for taming. And that's because I am going to start capturing some things and I would like them to be able to be tamed. And that should get all of my new guys. So let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I've set them all up with new professions. So there'll be 2 farmers that'll be able to take care of the farms, especially once I start getting my shroom farm going. And then the shepherd, I'll show you what they do once I get into that capture range. And I might also have them help with the cooking, even though they're not great at it. And I'm going to take these other 2 guys off of the cooking skill so that it's just going to be the cook team that's going to be cooking. Whoops, I want to make sure my cook is actually cooking and not my forester there. So there we go. Okay, now, so I promised the thaumaturge thing, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab my miner, and right here south of my base, I'm going to dig up a pool. And underneath that pool, I am going to build some stone blocks. One layer underneath that pool. And might not make sense why just yet, but you'll see in a moment. So my miner's going to come up hopefully in just a minute. Actually, I'm going to increase the job priority here because my miner's currently digging out all of that stone under there for me. And all of my new guys are trying to figure out their way over here. They also had some things, they also brought some stuff with them, like some potato seeds, which is really good. So I can go, since there's some new stuff that they brought, I'm going to go over to my crops here, and I'm going to add potatoes. Remember, hold down left shift and you can search, and then I'll rank that up to the top there. Let's see, they brought some more carrots for us, which I already have the production going on for the carrots. And we should be good, really, other than that. They brought us a bunch of potatoes, too, so we'll just be cooking those potatoes as well. Okay, so my miner's coming up here, and he's digging out this section for me. And you'll also notice that some people are falling asleep. They're not sleeping well, and that's going to be an issue for them in a little while. So what I'm going to do is start the process of building out my base as a whole. So this is going to be... should be a 7x7. There, that's what I need. And then I'm going to ditch these 3 and that one. And then here, do that too. Those 3, those 3. Oh. Okay, so this is going to be my base area here, and I like to put some stone blocks in for the corners, and then I'm going to go up 1 layer, and I am going to create the build for the next layer up here. So they're going to be doing all of this stuff in blue, and in tandem with this, I'm going to go up 1 layer and have them build the next layer as well. So on this next layer up here, I'm going to do the same thing with the wood blocks, where I'm just going to outline this whole area and this whole area. And then I'm going to open doors here. So I'll have 4 rooms and then a central room right here. I'm going to do the same thing with the stone blocks. We're going to build stone blocks in here. Then I'm also going to put a wood floor over the entire area and leave one hole for a stairway that'll come from there up to this layer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a kitchen here. I'm going to make a dining hall here and then 3 bedrooms. But I also want to put a roof over all of this because these are going to be my bedrooms. So I do want them closed in. And so I'm going to grab these clay shingles. I'm going to go up one more layer. And then I'm going to fill this entire area in with clay shingles. Now it's going to complain. It's going to say that it can't reach certain points because things have not been built to those points yet. They will be eventually, so I'm not worried about that. And as they're going through trying to make the building, this will all work itself out. So you see that this area is almost entirely cleared out. I'm actually going to go down one layer and I'm going to increase the priority of these jobs so that they get done first. Because what I'm going to do now is this is the part where my Thaumaturge kind of pays off. I can build ice blocks with the Thaumaturgy skill. And what I can do is as long as I'm in this pit here, I can build these ice blocks. And then I can mine the ice blocks up, which gives me 2 things. One, in just a little while, I'm going to be able to make some ice chests with my Tomes of Industry that I'm getting through as I'm ranking up in my saga, and that will help me with food storage. And then 2, these ice blocks is going to make this a pool, because even if I don't get them dug up as ice, they're going to melt and they're going to create a water pool. And for now, it's going to cost me a little bit to make them. So if I want to make them, I can only make 36 because I only have enough water to actually use. It requires 2 waters to make each one of these. But what I can do is actually fill in this pool with water and then just create ice blocks on top of it at no cost. So that's the very first thing I'm going to do, is actually just build 1 ice block right here in the corner. And I want to make sure it's in the pool. I can't stress this enough, because if I do it here above the pool, it's going to spread and just ruin my whole base here. But if I'm in this pool, it will stay contained to this pool even when it melts. So you see it just melted, and now it gets to fill up that whole area. They'll still build the stone underneath it, but now you'll watch. I can make 34. I have 69 waters. I can create all of these as ice blocks, and when they come to make them, it doesn't cost me any water at all. And if you're wondering, I can actually take the mining job and mine it out. And the reason I put these stone blocks underneath is because these are not mineable, so I can't accidentally click on them and mine them up. Whereas these dirt blocks that are still over here, I can accidentally click on them and mine them up. And I don't want to do that, because that'll cause problems with, if I had an open room underneath, it would immediately flood the room underneath. Okay, so all of this should be good. They are rocking through. I'm going to speed up time because I think everything is pretty much set. You'll see that my Thaumaturge is working along on making that. I'm going to open up my Saga menu because I do have a couple of new tomes. So I'll go ahead and grab my next couple of levels of agriculture there. And then I don't really need anything. I'm going to go ahead and get this vault, because if a trader comes in... Aha! See, Tome of Arcana written. So now I've got my first of my Tomes of Arcana. Man, the merchant beat me. So the merchants can leave a bunch of Ren at the corner here, but all of their items are going to go into the market. That's the advantage of that vault room, is it grabs all the Ren that the merchant drops and puts it in that vault room. But now let's see what this merchant has. So Gabby has come to sell. I'm going to go and look at what they have to buy first. Yeah, Tome of War, that's not bad. I normally look for seeds early on here, but Shadowfern seeds aren't really important because I already have some fiber seeds going. Could buy the snoot remains. Or the hide. But that's kind of expensive, and I don't really have much money right now. So I'm interested in selling. I want this merchant to leave with 0 Ren and all the goods that I can possibly give him. Now these first few items are worthless. I scroll down to the bottom and see I don't have anything down here I want to sell. Definitely don't want to sell that Tome of Arcana that I just got. I do have a couple of other items that are worth selling. I have plenty of water. And water is really easy to come by, so I might end up selling about half that, because I know that at the 40 marker, my guys will start grabbing some more water. And then I have, let's see, I've got these gooseberries, but I want to use those. A bunch of stone chunks. I don't want to sell those yet. Plenty of plant fibers. And I have a bundle of wood logs, and that's as low as I can go. If you don't know when I'm getting the increasing by 5s here, it's because I'm holding down the left control key, and I'm able to click and go increment by 5. So I have plenty of wood logs, and I'm going to sell out as many of those as I can. That'll get me up to his 450. Then I'll just say trade, and excellent. So then I'll just close this. I didn't really want to buy anything from him. He didn't have much in the way of things that interest me. You see how my Rin is left here, but if I had bought an item from the merchant, then it would have appeared in this room here, which is my market room. Now, time slowed down again, so I'm going to speed it back up, let things go. I'm going to do another round of building these ice blocks here. While I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and actually get my miner to mine some of these out so that I will have some ice chunks ready to go. Just as they produce, I'm marking a priority 3 mining job on them. And my miner will sometimes come up and grab it, sometimes not. And put my Tomes of Arcana on there as tracking and build another round of ice blocks here. And you notice a lot of things are being left on the ground right now, and I need to take care of that because I don't currently have a storage room that is that's been put together to gather up things. So I need to fix that. And actually I can right here while I'm doing this. I'm gonna hit R to pull up the rooms menu, and I'm gonna create a stockpile right here. And this stockpile is basically gonna be everything. So I'm going to right click on it and say S1 main, and this will be my everything storage until I get a better system of storage. It's red right now because it hasn't grabbed anyone with the carrying skill into it, but it'll grab all 10 of my villagers into it. And then I'm also going to build some wood crates over this entire area, but not the stairs. And they should get started on that, and that will give them some storage space. Oh, I have a hungry settler, so I'm going to pause it, and let's see. I had a feeling this might happen. Excuse me. So she's stuck on the roof. This happens with my roof builds a lot, where they just get stuck up there because they built the roof before they built the underlying structure for it. So I'm going to grab a spot where there is a floor underneath, and then I'm just going to hit J and do a clear remove job at top priority right over a floor, and then that way they can get down. And I'll just leave that so they can walk off the roof if they need to. I'm not sure why they decide to build the roof first. Here we go. My first bandit attack. Leah Gladwayne says, "What have we here? No one comes around here without paying the iron tax." And this brave soul is going to attack a settlement of 10 people by themselves. Ooh, and that's interesting. So, now this group did actually get revealed as a group that I'm going to have to deal with. Okay, so currently I have everyone in a group. All 10 of my people are in groups, but I want to check these guys and see if any of them have spell books, because if they have spell books, I might be in trouble regardless of what I try and do here. Ooh, this is going to get ugly. So the deal with spellbooks is that they can shoot pretty much through anything right now, and that's just kind of a spot that we're at. So I'm going to move all of my units out here and force these ancients to come get me. So I'm going to grab everyone and move them out here and force them to come get me. Come on. Don't fall asleep. It's not time to sleep. It's time to run. Here, we'll just come up here and take care of this lone bandit who's stuck on the side of the screen. I'm not sure why both those... there we go. One of them has died from question mark, question mark. because they can shoot straight through everything, and that's pretty much why I want to get all of my units as far away from them as I can right now. Force them to come up, and then I can attack them. There we go. Okay, now we're out. Let's go. This is going to be a total wipe. That's another. We're down to 7. Oh, got one of them. Okay. 6, down 5. I might be able to make it. It's going to be tough to recover from this, but... Hey, there we go. Up. Down to 4. And the bandit's here, too. Sometimes you just get unlucky. Alright. Oh no. Died from a wound. Okay. Oh no, we're still fighting one of the mages. Oh, because he's shooting from underneath. Okay, yep, it's a total wipe at this point. There's no way we can even get down to him before he's going to kill everybody. So now you see why I was saying that I didn't want to open up that ancient tomb. Okay. And there you go. That's how a village ends. I know I was going to talk more about strategy, but I think I'm going to have to restart from that save point if I'm going to be able to make that happen. So I'm going to pause the recording, see if I can recover a little. Okay, so fortunately the game had a recording, a save stuck from just before just after I met the trader. So I have the 500 run from the trader. I've salvaged my people from the roof so that they can make their way down to get all the things that they need. And it's just before we discovered the ancients, so perhaps I'm not going to have to deal with them. We'll see. I'm going to check in my inventory because I want to see how many ice chunks I have ended up with. Let's have 8 ice chunks. Okay. That'll make me 4 ice chests. I don't really need to worry about that. They are building these, so I'm going to let that go. I think we should be good with that. I am going to go ahead and start designing, though, this area for my vault, since that is something that I was talking about. 11 by 5 here for my vault. 11 by 5 there for my mushroom farm. Now, the mushroom farm I can build underground, and the reason I'm going to do that is because that's going to be a good source of food in the wintertime. Okay, here we go. Now I've got a bandit attack coming in. The slightly strange bandits. Now, it's just 2 bandits, so this is not going to be anywhere near as devastating as the other, and it doesn't look like I have dug into an ancient cavern at this point either. So let me actually go down here and up the priority on those so that my miners will come up and take care of those instead. I'm going to grab my everyone group. Let's check these. I'm going to pause it for a minute. I'm going to see what these guys have on as equipment. So no ranged weapons there, and no ranged weapons here. Nope. Okay, so yeah, this is going to be easy, especially if they're going to come one by one. So I've got my everyone group selected, just so that when this guy gets over closer to me, it's going to take him forever to climb up these faces here. Let's just put everybody together. Yeah, go ahead. We can get into a fight. It's fine. So if you don't know how I did it, I just hit the F9 key to restart, to go back to the last save point that it had for me. It erases your progress, but I kind of wanted that at that point because my whole village had wiped, so I'm going to bring the fight over to this guy rather than try and wait for him to attack my units themselves. It seems like everybody's pathfinding pretty well, which is good. That's something that I normally have problems with, is that they'll have issues pathfinding to get to these bandits, but right now it seems like they're working out just fine. And really, at this point in the game, I'm just relying on numbers, and you'll notice my enemies don't have any kind of weapons on them at the moment. So that was easy. Took them out nice and quickly. Also gave me a Tome of Industry, which is great. And time has slowed back down, so I'm going to speed it back up and let things run for a little bit. I do want to set this building to build more of these ice blocks. Enough Tomes of Industry now to get into bronze. Ooh, they moved a Tome of Industry and now waiting on it to be put back down to be able to use it. It's in somebody's pocket currently, that's why it's not appearing up there. So at this point, it's pretty self-sufficient. I'm not cooking things fast enough, so what I'm going to do is build another stone furnace, or stone stove in the kitchen here, so that they can actually cook a little bit faster. I'll raise that in priority to 3, just to make sure it gets done. Stonework tends to take a while to get done, and so I'll normally raise that in priority to get it done a little faster. And I'll look at my storage room here. It looks like my storage room is actually pretty well filled up, so I'm going to need to make another one at some point. So one of the things I'm going to do is build in a floor here. Just a dirt floor, because I have plenty of dirt at this point. I'm going to create a vault room out of this room over here. And then I'm going to create a new farm room right here. And this farm room I'm going to name F5. We'll call it Shrooms. And I'm going to put into this farm my spores. The lettuce mushrooms. There we go. And that rank 2. That rank 2. Oops, someone's thirsty. I pause it. Let's look at who's thirsty and why. Now, you shouldn't be thirsty because you should be able to get... Oh, I built over the wrong staircase. I knew that was going to be a problem. Looking at these staircases and they look... there we go. Now everybody can get up and down. I look at these staircases and like they just look enough off to me at this point where I get confused about which one is what level. Now that should mean that I can then dig out all of this area compared to... No, not remove. Dig. Cancel that. In that order. Okay. Ooh, are we out of trees? Okay, so we are out of wood logs. I'm gonna have to go and mine some more wood logs. Go foresting again. I thought I nearly deforested this area down here, but there are plenty of trees, so grab some more here. Ooh, grabbed them all on the wrong level. Alright, so that'll work. That'll get us some more logs and wood planks going. Now I have enough Tomes of Industry to unlock the Bronze Age. And then we can start working on that as well. Now remember I talked earlier about expanding rooms, so I'm going to expand the storage room that I have down to this layer here. And that way they will put things on both this storage layer and this storage layer. And I can build in crates on this storage layer the same way I did on the one above it. It's like cabbage job right there. Now I'm cooking because I am writing a whole bunch of these Tomes of Industry as I'm going through and Tomes of Agriculture. So that means that I'm doing something right here. So grab the second. Here, now you'll notice I left these 3 openings in my outer walls, and this is how I normally will defend myself. I'll create a kind of pathway here, and I'm going to dig out under the pathway, and I'm going to create trapdoors and cages. And so as things try and get into my base, they're going to have to go through this trapdoor and cage system. So I'm going to build one of those up really quickly to show you what I'm talking about. So I build these out here. This all the way to the edge there, and then I'm going to come down 1 layer, and I'm going to mine all of this area out right there. So you'll see I have all that area mined out. It'll have a space there and a space there, and then what that's going to do is that's going to leave a hole in this area here that'll be 1 Z level down. And in that hole, I'm going to build just a whole bunch of these large cages. So as it comes to any bandits that are coming in, when they try and come into my town from the north here, they're going to have to path through this. And as they path through that, they're going to go right over these things. Now, the AI currently will actually just walk into those, but the idea is that eventually they won't just walk into them. So what I'm going to do also is create a series of trapdoors that my units can walk directly over, but that the enemy units have to will fall into, and then have to try and climb out of. And if they're in the cage, they can't do that. And so then I'll do that on all 4 sides of my enclosure here, and that will keep people from being able to attack me and without falling into these cages. And I've got the second layer built here, so what I'm going to do is make another kitchen here, and you can actually just do the same kitchen if you wanted to. So if I wanted to grab R and just grab the kitchen, I can do the same kitchen, but I actually like to make this a second kitchen because I can make this kitchen for the foods that are going to cook that I don't need to think anything about, and then this kitchen I can use for butchering things. So this one I'll actually rename to Fire Pit, E1 Fire Pit, and this one I'm going to rename to E3 Kitchen. And that way I'll set up my food cooking up there once I get all the stone ovens and things set up in that area. Alright, got our second merchant here. And now that I have a vault, he won't drop anything off by the side. And hopefully I'll have some money to be able to buy stuff this time. Let's check out what I can buy. Alright, we've got some cabbage seeds, which I think I already have cabbage seeds in this one that are already growing. So I might just buy a few of these, but so I'll normally buy seeds because I like to have a diversity of foods available. Let's see, buy some cooked foods. Tempting to buy that steel war axe because that is kind of nice. Buy this crab remains. I have never butchered a crab, so I'm interested to see what I get from that. Alright, so I'll trade you. That'll take 194 Ren from me, and then I'll sell to him about half my plant fiber. I am going to use the plant fiber eventually. I know it's like I'm just kind of just trading it away at this point, but I will eventually use it, and I am going to trade away a bunch of my water, because again, my guys will remake it, and then these melons, I can trade a bunch of them, and a bunch of these potatoes. Not all of the potatoes. Maybe about half. I need the wood logs. I'm running low on the wood logs again. Let's sell some of these potato seeds. These melon seeds. Maybe some of these lettuce mushrooms too. Almost up to total here. I'll have to make my tree farm so that I don't have to worry about wood anymore. Ooh, I have rabbit remains. I can harvest those in just a minute. Cloth boots I picked up probably from one of these guys that's been attacking me. Alright, that's as close as I'm going to get for right now. I could go through and try and figure out some individual, like, I mean, sell some of these pallet seed, tree seeds. There we go. That'll make up the difference there. Okay, now you'll notice the trader didn't leave anything because what happened was that the Ren, he dropped off in my vault, and the goods he dropped off right here inside of my market. All right, so I said that I was going to do a couple more advanced things here, so I'm going to grab a prop of one of these wood workbenches, put it out here, and in that fire pit room, I am going to remove all of my cooking jobs, and I'm going to add a new job to Butcher. Crab remains, and Butcher... don't want to butcher human remains. That just seems macabre. Much of the rabbit remains there. So I like to do it this way. I don't care about the rabbit meat as much as I do the fact that I want the rabbit remains gone. So I'm going to select rabbit remains and then say, as long as the rabbit remains is greater than 0, to just run the shop. And the same thing here. So we'll do crab remains, and then we'll do greater than 0. And as long as those things are true, that'll be taken care of. Oh, it's Dean. Hi, Dean. Dean says that he wants me to hand over 1 wool coat and no one dies. Well, I don't think I have a wool coat. I don't really care. If I have a wool coat, that's fine. Okay, Dean. Good for you. I don't really need a wool coat right now. It's not a big deal. Got plenty of time before it becomes winter, and by the time it's winter, I'm mostly going to have things squared away so that I don't need them. Hopefully. Okay, so that's all of that. Now I'm going to come back up here, and I'm going to set up my Arboretum. So this is another room that I can add, and it's this Arboretum right here. And what I will typically do for the Arboretum is I will make a area right there, there, and then right here, and right here. And this is tight space from where I normally am, so it's going to be a smaller Arboretum than I'm used to running, but it's not too bad. Now the Arboretum is for the foresters. Now inside of the production menu, I can set up some jobs for the Arboretum. And all I'm going to do for the Arboretum is just add some of the saplings that I know are pretty useful saplings. And then I'm going to set this logging skill to 2 so that it gets done pretty promptly. And the same thing for these saplings. And I'm actually just going to remove the harvest ground cover because I don't care about the ground cover. It can stay there. And then I need to go in and rename my Arboretum. That's going to be R2. Arboretum. And I am going to go in and actually log out these guys here so that they are out of the way once I get started. Speed myself back up here. Nope. All right, another settler wave. Excellent. Okay, so some new settlers have arrived, and I think that's actually where I'm going to pause this one. I'm going to call this video done. The Tomes of Arcana I've only gained 1 of, so I do need to go in and build again some more ice blocks. And once I get those Tomes of Arcana, what I'll do is I'll learn the library immediately, and then I'll set my skills on my Thaumaturge and anyone else that I can spare. I'm going to set their research skill. And I'll probably actually make someone like this new person here who thinks he's a carpenter, but is actually a really good scholar. They're going to be set to be a scholar, and they're just going to do research, quote unquote. But really what they're going to do is just write a whole bunch of paper. They're just going to make a whole bunch of paper, and they're going to put books together for me. And that's how I'm going to get my tomes up really quickly and advance through all of the different things that I need to advance through as I'm going. I do have 1 more advancement that I can make, so I don't have it quite yet. I need an 8th to get the iron work. But I'll be honest with you, I need to start this bronze work and get bronze tools and work on uniforms. And that might be my next video, is talking about how I uniform all of my different characters and how I go about that next process of creating a military as well. Now that I have some things that I can use for that, so I could create some ranged weapons and then set up a military and set up the bronze tools for all the different people that need them. All right, that's going to be it for this episode. Join me for the next one, and I look forward to seeing you then. Happy odd realming.